Hello, everybody. Hi. Hi, Arpita. Uh, a very good morning to all of you, and welcome to the International Yoga Day. Today, I wanted to particularly speak about one particular effective practice that can help us with um, more alignment in our nervous system. However, before that, I just want to bring to notice the importance of understanding yoga correctly. I mean, unfortunately, yoga has been seen as a way of exercising correctly, or maybe at the most, breathing correctly. But yoga is so much more than exercising. Yoga is so fundamentally holistic in the way it can be applied to our physical and mental health. The system of yoga is having 8 limbs as given by Patanjali in his Yoga Sutras. And this this 8 limbs altogether is a way of life, is a way of practicing well-being. It's a way of being okay in the mind, in the body. Now, there are two things we need to be well. We need a certain degree of flexibility in our system, and we need a certain degree of strength in our system, not just in our body but also in our mind. Only when we have strength and when we have flexibility, we can face life's challenges, we can face life's difficulties, because we need the strength and the resilience to face life. At the same time, flexibility to allow, to just be with the flow. But our mind is rigid, our body is stiff, and our mind and body don't allow this flow, don't allow this uh, balance of strength and flexibility. So a system that has a balance of strength and flexibility is a very refined system. It's a very healthy system, and the entire yogic philosophy brings to the table how this system can be developed, this flow can be developed in the mind and body. The first two out of these 8 limbs that Patanjali explained, the first two are the yama niyamas, which talk of surrender, truthfulness, uh, not not getting too much into sense pleasures, what to abstain from, what to practice, how to practice tapas, how to practice a certain degree of discipline. So these establish our ability to sort of be with difficult situations, just an orientation. And then we practice asanas for the body, we practice pranayama for the breath, which some of which we will be doing today at a deeper level. And then we practice the last 4 limbs, which are meditative in nature. And a lot of my work as a psychotherapist is rooted in Indian philosophies, and part of which is yogic philosophy, to bring this wholeness to well-being. It's not about when you come with a symptom, when you come with a particular problem to a therapist. Often we find that therapists are looking at that problem, and the idea is never to just resolve that one thing. The idea is to always work on the holistic sense of well-being, so that going forward the person is able to work, be resilient to what comes next, to what comes forward. Now, given that this is the framework, what I want to bring for today's session is one very crucial aspect of yoga, which is the aspect of alignment. You must have heard in asana practice people talking about body alignment. But what I want to bring to the table is nervous system alignment. Now, what is the idea of aligning our nervous system? Okay, and why is it so important? The nervous system consists of, and a little bit of jargon here before I explain the practice to you, a little bit of, um, uh, like I said, a little bit of jargon around the nervous system. The nervous system is our brain and our spinal cord, and a network of nerves that goes from the brain and the spinal cord to various parts of the body, and goes back from the body, all parts of the body, to the brain. right? So for even a small message to reach our hand, the message has to go from the brain to our hand. So it has to pass through so many neurons and a whole network of nerves and reach our hand. And the message has to go back from our hand to the brain. So if the skin receptors feel cold, they tell the brain it's cold. Brain says, okay, you need to go get a bed sheet, get a blanket. Then the body moves, gets the blanket. So it's a very deep system. And in that, but at the same time, it's very quick. We don't come to know that there's so much back and forth that has happened between the brain and the body. Now, a big part of this happens independently of our will. So there's a part of the nervous system known as the autonomic nervous system, and as the name suggests, autonomy, it is an independent part of our nervous system. Hi, everybody. I just see the chat. It is an autonomous part of the nervous system, which means that it functions on its own. Our blood pressure, our heart rate, glandular functions, how much insulin is produced, how the neurotransmitters are produced in our brain. Everything is decided by the autonomic nervous system, which works on its own. We can't make it work in a certain way directly. We cannot will our blood pressure to come down, our insulin production to get better. We cannot will all these things, right? We take medicines for all this because we can't will them. Now, this system works based on how the mind and body is aligned in the present to itself and to the environment. If we are not in alignment with the environment, this system dysfunctions. Let us see how. This autonomic nervous system has further two branches: sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic branch is basically involved in arousal and activation. Now, when you have to do something very quickly or there's a threat in the system, your sympathetic nervous system gets activated, the one involved in arousal. For example, you're stuck in a lift, there's a natural disaster, you're running late, you have to catch a train, something has happened, there's a loud sound, and you have to immediately react and respond. Your sympathetic nervous system gets activated, and all the things associated with the sympathetic nervous system gets activated. So, when you're activated, when you're stressed or when there is something to be done immediately, what happens? When you have to figure something out, your heart rate increases, your blood pressure rises, your eyes become sharper, your ears become sharper, you get energy in your hand and feet because you need to act, right? You need to do something now. You're stuck in a lift, you need to get out. This is known as the fight and flight aspect of the nervous system. The other aspect of the nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, is involved in ease, rest, and digest. Now the difficulty is over, there's nothing else, and the system can rest and the system can digest. And so the energy goes back into digestion, back into helping the system become easy. Blood pressure comes down, heart rate comes down, and the system relaxes. Now, this is a very healthy system. When it needs to fight, it fights. When it needs to rest, it rests. This is a healthy system. But what happens and how does this system become unhealthy? When we are sitting in one place and worrying about our future, which system do you think gets activated? The one involved in threat, the one involved in arousal. Our sympathetic nervous system gets activated, which basically means you have nowhere to run to, nothing to fight with right now. It's something about the future you're worried. Tomorrow you have to give a presentation in office, you're stressing today. You have to, it could be an indefinite time in the future. What will happen if this? What will happen if that? And then your sympathetic nervous system gets activated when it's not needed, which means you're sitting in one place, but your blood pressure is rising, your heart rate is rising, you're becoming vigilant, your eyes are becoming vigilant, your ears are becoming sharper, there's energy in your hands and legs. You don't need all this right now. So, what is going to happen? You're going to become restless. Your hands and legs have excess energy. They're going to start moving, drumming. Your legs will start moving. You won't get sleep because your mind is working. Your sympathetic nervous system is activated. You won't digest your food. because your digestive rest and digest system is not activated. Your bowel movements will suffer, everything will suffer. And that's how a lot of physical and mental diseases come into the picture here, because the nervous system is not aligned with what is actually happening. It is not fighting when it has to fight and resting when it has to rest. It is in its rest time, it is worrying. The mind is somewhere else. It is worrying and it is not resting. And because it's not resting, heart rate and all of this is going all over, neurotransmitters are all over, and we get over a period of time when a system stays dysregulated. It's called a dysregulated system. It stays dysregulated like this, then we actually start to suffer and we start to become unwell and ill and mentally ill, chronically worried, anxious, depressed, even physically ill, digestive issues, all kinds of issues, pain issues, all kind of issues. Because in the rest and digest, our system truly can heal. That is the time the system, the tissues get rejuvenated and restored and they heal. So you see, healing has so much to do with how our mind thinks, so much to do with where the mind is. If there is no real problem right now and the mind is worrying about it, the system is dysregulated. Now, what I want to show you today, just one thing, there's a lot that can be done to bring the mind back. It's a practice. It's a practice called mindfulness. There are practices of meditation, and a lot of them are very important. And I have dealt with them in different YouTube videos, in different parts of the courses that some of you may have attended. And I have extensively talked about the other aspects as well. But today I want to focus on one thing that can start you on your journey to regulate the nervous system. One thing that can change how the nervous system operates. Now, what actually happens when the nervous system is dysregulated is the breath, when the heart beats fast, when the blood pressure is high, the breath becomes shallow and the breath becomes stagnant. Like it's quick, it's shallow, and it's a chest. We just breathe in through the chest area. We don't breathe in deep. Naturally, if you're doing anything quickly, you don't have space to breathe in deep. So if you change the way you breathe, then the message that goes to the brain is the system is relaxed. So now what we are doing is, by changing the breath, we can actually change our activation from a sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic, which means instead of being aroused, we can tell our brain, you know what, I'm relaxed, I'm not aroused. And when your brain listens to these signals from you, when you keep breathing correctly for 5-10 minutes, the brain starts to listen. And when the brain listens, it regulates the body, and your rest, ease, and digest can start. So, changing your breath consciously for a few minutes a day, 5 to 10 minutes a couple of times a day, can change the way your nervous system works. And every day, if you do this, and consciously, even throughout the day, if you do this, while you're working, while you're eating, like just know that, okay, am I breathing deeply? No, let me breathe deeply. That can change the way the nervous system balances. So, I want to show you that one breathing technique that can make this shift and what that technique is, and then we can talk a little more about it. So, I'm just going to adjust this a little bit so that you can see me better. And I'm just going to go behind and see if that's a no. 1 second. Yeah, I think this is fine. Yes. Uh, the reason I've moved behind is because I want you to see that I am going to try and breathe into this part of my body, below my chest and above my navel. I'm going to, and there's an entire video on diaphragmatic breathing, which you can see on the channel later. But for now, this is the area where we are going to try and breathe. So when people say take a deep breath, the common practice is to take a deep breath from me like I'm exaggerating, but this is what we usually do. So you can do this with me. We are not going to, this will move a little, but our intention is not to expand this. our intention is to expand this. So let's do that. We can even put our hand gently on the side like this and breathe in a relaxed way. Now breathe in a very relaxed way. In a way that when you take a breath in, this must expand. And when you breathe out, this must contract. When you breathe in, this must expand slightly. It'll expand slightly. And when you breathe out, this must contract. This could be difficult for new people who are chest breathers, who have not even realized that breathing this way is important. It's possible. But it's a practice. It will come. So for now, just let's do it for 2-3 minutes together. As it is yoga day, let's do this basic, fundamental, beautiful yoga breath practice together. And we can start with just putting our hands on the side. Or you, if you want, you can even put your hand in the front here, whatever is comfortable to you. And breathe very relaxed. For some time, don't make any effort to breathe deep. Just relax, breathe. Your back is straight. Your body is also relaxed. Your eyes and face are also relaxed. Relax your whole body before you start this breath. Just inhaling into the diaphragm, and the diaphragm must expand. This area must expand when you inhale. And exhaling, and this area must contract. Let's take another 5 breaths like this and then go a little deeper into the practice. And now, what we will do is, now that we are at least breathing correctly, let's try to make the exhale more active, which means breathe out completely. As you exhale, breathe out completely. And as you inhale, just be relaxed and inhale as much as you have capacity. So breathing out is I'm trying to let the whole breath go. So my navel kind of goes in, this whole area contracts, everything comes in, and then I'm relaxed and I'm just breathing in and expanding as much as capacity. Again, when I breathe out, it's active. I exhale, 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 and then I breathe in, it's relaxed. Let's try making the exhale active. Breathing out is completely, you're exhaling completely. You're not letting any breath stay in the body. All the breath is out. And breathing in just as per capacity. This hand is very gentle, it's not tight, it's very gentle just to feel. And once you feel you're breathing well, you can even leave it and just continue breathing. Keep it on your lap, keep your hands on your lap, on your thighs, and just continue breathing in your diaphragm, very in a relaxed way. You're making no sound, so you're not making breathing sounds. You're just breathing, quiet, smooth, relaxed breathing, without jerks, without pauses, just relaxed. And you will notice your attention comes on the breath on its own. You might see that your mind also slows down on its own. And you might also see that as you exhale fully, the capacity to breathe in more increases. It's like emptying the vessel. When the vessel is empty, you can fill it up again. So you are just focusing on emptying the vessel, not on filling it up. When you empty the vessel fully, it fills up on its own. And also remind yourself that as you're breathing, you can just let everything else go. Your nervous system is already regulating if you have been breathing with me. It is already getting into a healing, resting, and digesting mode. Okay, 3 more breaths, and then we can come back and we can speak a little more. Smooth, relaxed, deep, active exhales, passive inhales, and soundless breath. Okay, great. If you have any questions about the practice, you can type them. I'll come closer and I can answer them. But just a little bit more about what we just did right now. So, what I wanted all of us to notice is that while we did this, we were able to balance the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems. All the information that went to the brain was that this person or I am breathing smoothly and deeply. There is no shallow chest breathing, which means there is no anxious, anxiety provoking, threatening situation around me. The brain is listening and saying, okay, if you are breathing in this way, so deeply, so smoothly, so calmly, there must be a no threat situation. Let me shift from sympathetic activation to parasympathetic activation. Let me shift from fight and flight to rest and digest. So the brain listens to us and shifts. This quality of the brain is known as neuroplasticity. The brain is forever changing. It's listening, it's looking at your habits and accordingly changing. If worrying, thinking about the future, thinking about something while bathing, thinking about something while eating is the practice, the brain is listening and is staying in the fight and flight mode. Whereas if this is the practice that we are present, we can be here, we can breathe, the brain is listening. And this is immeasurably important for our physical health also, because only when we are in rest do does everything restore. Even if we exercise, even if we run, our tissues need to rejuvenate, they need to get restored. We are doing our cardio workouts, we are healthy, we are eating right, but if you're not relaxing enough, if we are not resting enough, if our system is not in rest and digest, it won't digest what we've eaten, it won't repair the tissues we've exhausted in our exercises. So it's integral to our lifestyle to breathe well, to breathe correctly. And the beauty of this is you can do it throughout your day whenever you find time. Few breaths in the middle of the office break, while breathing, before you open up your email, while you're cooking, just standing and watching your breath for a few breaths before you start something, in the middle of conversations with others, as well as at least taking out 5 to 10 minutes couple of times a day to just sit and do it, so that we keep telling our brain, I'm relaxed, I'm okay, I'm right now not in threat. And the brain helps us to not remain in threat, and the whole system starts to get aligned and get easy. So I really wish for you to find this balance. I'm going to see if you have any questions to answer now. Thank you, Sandeep. Yeah, you can. Yes, Sudakshana, you can apply this practice when, like I said, throughout the day as well as a few times a day. You can take time out, but you have 2 minutes or 3 minutes. It's fine. Just do it. You have 1 minute. Do it. But it can change the way your system works. It can change your whole parasympathetic sympathetic balance, how much neurotransmitters are transmitted in the blood, your blood pressure, your heart rate, your digestion. Everything can change. I'm not saying this is the only practice, I'm saying this is a good entry point. If you're interested, there is a lot more work and understanding and perspective to be gained. You can come in and attend one of the courses or the wisdom circles, which are free, which happen a couple of times, uh, a few times a year, but where we can go deeper. But this is a definite entry point. This smooth, calm, diaphragmatic breath is a definite entry point to this practice. So please do practice, and practice is everything. Knowledge is just a very small part. I always say it's a tip of the iceberg. It convinces you. When you know, it convinces you why you need to practice. But when you actually do the practice, you see the results. I'm sure you already have felt a shift just being and practicing for 5 minutes. There's something that has changed. So just be more regular and you will see that your system calms down and just aligns. Okay, thank you everybody. Thank you for being here. Have a lovely yoga day, and I hope you start your practice from today. Bye, everybody.